Going to be in the back of the net. Yes! Stunner. It is a brilliant goal. Ball goes down and the referee says that is a penalty. Oh, and he's missed it. It's hit the post. Straight in the net. Well, it's gone straight into the goal. Ball goes across field and into the back of the net. And it's an equaliser for the Navy. Touched onto the bar and he's in.
Come on.
Shoots, sends the keeper the wrong way.
Welcome to Oswestry for the first of 3 inter-services deciders, all live on BFBS Sport. We're here for the women's football. It's the RAF, the champions, against the challengers from the Royal Navy. And so far in the tournament against the Army, both teams have shown their worth.
Still the danger not cleared, and the RAF have it in the back of the net. And Dixon collects the 1-2. She's clear. Is she going to put this ball in the back of the net? But it's great goalkeeping again. Brilliant goalkeeping from Jamie Lee Bamford. Plays it square. It's a shot, and it's a second goal for the RAF. And it's a second goal for Lucy Farrow.
Jones back in there, and it will fall for Edwards. The flag's gone up. Edwards has put it in the back of the net. She's not happy, and actually, from our position, look, we're not in the position the linesman is. I think Edwards might have been onside there. Well, here's Edwards looking to show us her game. Great tackle again from Nadina Green. Strong in there, and that's a beautiful ball through. And this is the chance that Barrow's been waiting for. Jade Barrow around the goalkeeper and gives the Navy the lead. Well, it's been an exciting tournament so far, but here are the championship consequences. The Navy have to win. The RAF can get away with a draw, but you know they're going to want to win too. Leading the RAF is Cat Beaver. We'll hear from the Navy in just a little bit, but a focus on Cat Beaver. Her experience could be key for the RAF today. So let's take a closer look at her.
Yeah, Beav, she's been around the group for a long time now. Played UCAF, plays a good level civvy, and she's just a winner. If things aren't going right on the pitch, she's not shy in telling the players what needs to happen. She demands high standards, which we do, and it rubs off on the players as well, because there's other players in the group now that are starting to become leaders or are leaders already, and it's just a good nucleus of leaders that we've got now. And for us as staff, it's important that we can have players on the pitch that can get our messages across, because we can't impact the game from the sideline throughout that 90 minutes all the time. It has to come from the players. So Yeah, it's good to have players like that within our group.
I demand a lot from the girls, whether they like that or not, but they all tend to know it's for the right reasons. I do expect high standards, and then it filters down for everyone. And a lot of stuff, they know where we're going wrong, so we usually do discuss it as a group, and it's like, right, come on girls, let's get a grip of this and get on with it. And it tends to be leading by example on the pitch rather than shouting and at half time or anything like that. It's not really my style.
So we've had a really good positive season so far. We've picked up some really good results and some results that we've taken some key learning points from. We've got a few new players that have come in this season, so I've got a few questions and decisions to make about them players, which has made life difficult for me, but as a manager you like them difficult decisions. I think we've got a talented squad, and yeah, if we stick to our game plan, anything's possible. 1-2, 1-2. Everyone on the outside, 1-2. Good, that's it. Yeah, so we've just got to take the lessons, the positives from the Army game and put them into the RAF game, and again to the Army game again. I think the RAF are still going to be strong, but we've got a game plan for both games, and if the players stick to that game plan, I'm pretty sure and confident we'll come off with positive results from both games.
Well, good afternoon from the New Saints Football Club. A bit drizzly here this afternoon, but we're thankfully undercover, which is always a bonus. Of course, I'm Kath Brazier, and I'm delighted to be here for the final round of Inter-Services football, the Royal Air Force up against the Royal Navy. And as luck would have it, this is the final. This is the two teams that have both defeated the Army. Just a reminder, of course, in week 1, the RAF won 2-0 against the Army women. And in week 2 last week in Portsmouth, we saw the Royal Navy with a 1-0 win against the Army in Havant and Waterlooville. And so it's all to fight for. The same is in the men's game, and that is join us live again later this evening for the men's game. But it is all down to this week. So we're delighted to be bringing you this and this evening's game. And by some miracle, Kyle Dixon has hot-footed it up from the pitch. You will have seen, of course, in our preview content. And Kyle, this is our first time together. We're going to muddle through, aren't we?
A bit of a different role. I'm everywhere at the moment. No, we did hope to have Army representation on co-coms. Unfortunately, we understand day jobs come first. We get that. So we're muddling through, but we'll do our best. And look, we've got Kath Brazier. We're fine.
Well, you say that, but on the football side, I definitely think we're lucky to have Kyle Dixon. We're just bigging each other up here because with no sort of official expert, then Kyle has fallen into that category. I'm just here to talk for an hour and a half. So if everyone's happy with that, but Kyle, I am glad genuinely because you've been a brilliant project manager on this Inter-Services football this year. Quite a big job to take on, but it also means that you've been across all the matches and been commentating on a couple of them as well, including the Royal Navy's game last week against the Army, and obviously you've taken pride in doing all the preview content as well. Just first of all, tell me what your sort of summation of the teams are that we're seeing today, given their performances so far.
I think, look, we've got two fairly even teams. The RAF as champions, they've done it for a few years. They've got the same spine of the team as well. They're there to be shot down, so to speak. But the Navy have got a few different players that really could hurt the RAF. Of course, we're going to mention Jade Barrow. She's a goal-scoring supreme at the moment. Yeah. But they've got some other players. I thought Nadina Green played really well last week. She got an assist from centre-back, which doesn't happen very often. So, look, I'm really interested to see these personal, individual battles today. Like, I mean, for example, Nat Bavister might play left wing again. Let's see what happens with that. And as you guys will have seen in the preview packages, Cat Beaver's experience will be hugely important.
I wanted to ask you about that because the RAF are reigning champions. They've won all the way back to, we obviously had 2 years of COVID, but won all the way back in 2019. It's been in their camp since then. How crucial has Cat Beaver been to that?
Look, a captain is the heartbeat of a team, and I mean, we heard Chris Hamilton say earlier that yes, she gets into the players. She is the vocal point on the pitch for the management as well, which is hugely important. You can't legislate for her experience, for her talent on the pitch. I mean, the team she's played for, we're talking MK Dons, we're talking Fulham, Oxford, real high quality in the women's game, and the RAF are very lucky to have her, as are UCAF, and they know that too.
No Rosie McDonald for the Royal Navy. Contractual agreements, I assume she could only play one of the games. Do you think that will make a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rosie McDonald's a huge player for the Royal Navy. They are gutted not to have her for these 2 games, I will say that much. But not just Rosie McDonald, there's a few players from the previous years that you would consider big players that are missing, that have either dropped out or are injured. I know Ellie Bishop's got a big injury at the moment and she's suffering. She can't play. She'd love to play. The Navy could be stronger with the players that they're missing, but the players on the pitch played well against the Army last week. It was a tighter battle than against the RAF.
Yeah, now the RAF, by the fact that they beat the Army by 2 and the Royal Navy by 1, if this afternoon's game should end in a draw, then it just means that the Light Blues, by goal difference alone, will take the championship again. Yeah,
so the RAF would be champions with a draw, but I mean, speaking to Chris last week, because he joined us for co-coms for the Army-Navy game, they don't want to draw. No one wants to draw to win a title. The RAF will want 2 wins, like they have done before. They did last year, 2 wins the year before. They will want 2 wins again. It's up to the Navy to stop them. The Navy have to win. They know that. So maybe we'll see a Navy team that come out full on attack, try and get an early goal. It might be important.
We mentioned, you mentioned Nat Bavister sort of being able to play anywhere and play such a crucial captain's role, and obviously Jade Barrow, but another name that we should probably mention in the Royal Navy lineup is Antea Captain, who I've called her for years. I think for the last 10 years I've seen her play about 4 different sports for Royal Navy. She finally kind of got to the point in her career where she sort of had to choose one. She chose football. We think potentially this could be her last game for the Royal Navy.
Yeah, that's what we've been told should be her last game for the Navy. And look, as you said, multi-sports. We saw her at the netball last year and she was really impressive for them. But last week she played really well for the Navy. She's been a UCAF level player. She'll want to go out with a championship. Whether she gets it, we will see. But she's a player that will have a big say in the result today, an attacking presence. And if the likes of Barrow or O'Leary or Bavister around her can get goals, it will be due to the creative talent of Captain. She's a real ball player. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the RAF women's lineup. The players are just dribbling out at the minute, so we may have a bit more time to chat. I think they're maybe just conscious of the weather as well. So let's go through and start with the RAF women as it's their home game. Playing shirts from Jamie Lee Bamford in goal, in shirt number 1. 2 is Ashley Housley Stott. 3 is Abigail Hayes. Cat Beaver, their captain, their inspirational captain, I think it's safe to say, with shirt number 4. Hannah Hale has got shirt number 6 on. 7, Philippa Wilson. 8, Megan Herbert. 9, Georgia Carr. 10, Molly Lambert. 11, Lucy Farrow. And 16, Shauna Jenkins. On the subs bench, we have Emily Gascoigne, Rachel Howes, Erin Wilson, Eden Marsh, Anna Turfus, Charlotte Worthing and Neve Hoey. An interesting number there. I think a lot of people will remember the first game the RAF played against the Army. Rachel Howes came on. Of course, very sad news that she's been diagnosed with cancer and she's going through treatment at the moment. We're not sure she's actually here, but it's almost like that. Her presence is here, isn't it? Of course. And look, I know for a fact that if the RAF become champions again today, they would like Rachel Howes to lift the trophy if she's here, but we haven't seen her yet. She may surprise us. She surprised us all that first game. Nobody expected her to come on the pitch, and it was a really great moment for her. In fact, there she is, right in front of us. We can see her. There she is. So she is here. Confirmation. We've had cited confirmation of Rachel Howes, so that's great news. On the RAF team, though, I just want to mention Shauna Jenkins back. She was missing last week. Really top defender. She's coming to the UCAF setup and just took it by storm. It's the first game we saw Cat Beaver play centre back because Shauna Jenkins was away. It'd be interesting to see where Cat Beaver lines up, whether she's back in centre midfield. Okay, and the Royal Navy women, from goalkeeper Lee Black in the number 1 shirt, 2 Lily Chubb, 3 Tony Stewart,
4, Shania Fenlon. 5, Nadina Green, that Carl mentioned earlier. 6, Kelsey Miller. 7, Nat Bavister, who's their captain. 8, Kate Bowden. 9, Jade Barrow. 10, Antea Captain. And 11, Grace O'Leary. And on their subs bench, we've got Robin Snee, Lauren Watson, Abby Hindman, Robin McFadden, Mai Wan, Olivia Sheaves and Ellie Naylor. Do you think it's one of those games, and because it's the last of this campaign, that pretty much all those subs will get on because they're going to be putting 110% in on the field, aren't they?
I mean, I think it depends on the match situation. I'm sure the Navy will want to give people minutes, but if there's a title on the line, that will take priority, I'm sure. Just looking at the two teams, I think it's going to be a really important battle in the wide areas today. Lily Chubb and Tony Stewart have got a game on their hands with Pitt Wilson and Lucy Farrow, who was just superb against the Army, Lucy Farrow. So teams are on their way.
Yeah, good to see. And Navy playing in white, their away strip, I assume, and we've got the Royal Air Force in that lovely claret with the light blue shoulders, and being led out here. It is a lovely facility here in, I guess we're sort of North Wales, Shropshire area.
It's Oswestry technically. I had a lesson on it when I came to do a recce. It's a lovely stadium. It's great for the women's game that they're playing at a stadium like this. I know the Masters have played a few times here. I know they wanted to play again here today, but the women got in there first. And it's important that they play at a high quality stadium. Like, it's high quality pitch as well. It looks beautiful.
So just a bit of silence now for the national anthem. Well, one privilege of being here is it's a credible filming platform, Carl, but we'll also get to see, I think most of the crowd are inside at the minute, possibly getting some warm-up drinks before this fixture as the players are introduced to officials here, and of course to, well, I wanted to call them heads of states, but the big cheeses.
Yeah, big VIPs. I mean, yeah, it'd be good to see people coming out and filling that stand exactly opposite us. I think they'll just be on the right-hand side, but it's a lovely facility. I know the stand opposite us has only recently been built as well, so...
I think they're still building it. There was some construction when we arrived.
Yep.
But we've managed to stop that for the
it is a lovely facility. We're not actually in Wales, for the record. Technically, we're slightly out of Wales. I should say. I've been told to really push that. We are technically still in England.
Okay.
But it is the home of the New Saints. Look, a facility like this, we saw them training earlier, actually, the New Saints, the first team, and they train on this, they play on this. It's a real pleasure for the girls to play on, I'm sure.
It is, and I don't want to diss HMS Temeraire, but we've come a long way now, that both the men's fixture and the women's fixture, and clearly the Masters are looking for it as well, for fixtures in stadiums like this.
Well, I mean, Nat Bavister leading the Navy handshakes, the captain. I'm sure she's seen a wide range of stadiums that she's played in, whether it's fantastic facilities like this or a wet, muddy day down in Portsmouth. I'm sure she's had to deal with all of it. But it has been a wet day here. It'd be interesting to see how quick the ball zips through here. Someone like Jade Barrow up front will be on the last defender. She will want the balls behind. So it'd be interesting to see if the pitch will play any part.
I'm going to be really mean here because I know we are supposed to be neutral, and ordinarily we'd have a football expert, and that of course is the role you're filling today. But how do you call it? Everyone wants to know what you think, Kyle.
I actually think it's going to be quite tight. I was impressed with the Navy last week. The Army put up a good fight against them, actually, but to get a 1-0 win when you're not even necessarily playing that well, you've got that little bit of quality is important. Look, the RAF are the queens of forces football right now, and they deserve to be at the top of the mountain, but you you've got to perform on these big days. Look, we saw it last year against the Army. They knew they had to win to take the championship, and they beat them 4-1. It's whether the big players step up. I'm looking at Pip Wilson. Look, we know what she can do. I think it'll be tight. We'll see how this first half goes. If the Navy are still in the game at half time, they will grow in confidence, I'm sure.
And it took a while for them to sort of score that goal last week as well. So
it was a really scrappy game as well. That was part of it, and it just took one moment of quality. Great tackle in her own half for Nadina Green, and the ball playing centre back, which I wasn't expecting her to be, played it through. And a brilliant finish from Barrow. We know what she can do, and that's what the RAF will be saying. You cannot give Jade Barrow a sniff, because she will score.
And Bavister as well, just the speed of her. If you give her, a couple of metres, then she'll skin you, really, wouldn't she?
I mean, I'm not one to talk about her age, but someone with her experience in this game, to have the speed that she has, credit to her. And it will be important for where Bavister lines up. She did start, as we said, left wing last week, but against the people like Pip Wilson and Lucy Farrow is maybe the right call to bring her back into the defence. It'd be interesting to see how the Navy line up against this RAF team.
So just a reminder that a win for either team here will claim them the title, but the RAF women have been champions since 2019 and have quite a strong hold at the moment on this inter-services title. But having both beaten the Army, if it does end in a draw, then the Royal Air Force women will win it purely by their 1 goal difference. As we see Jade Barrow then for the Royal Navy to start off this final inter-services fixture between the senior service and the hosts, as we have it, the Royal Air Force women. And good positive start needed from both sides then, Carl.
And I already noticed straight away that Kat Beaver has slotted into the RAF defence at centre back, and immediately Jade Barrow's that's going to be the battle. The experience of Kat Beaver against the pace advantage, you would imagine, of Barrow. So
a bit of head tennis at the minute, just as let those nerves settle. Bavister then giving the ball back to the Royal Navy, still in their own half at the moment.
Early bit of possession for the Navy, which will calm any nerves. Look, a title decider. Some of these players may not have been in this position before. A lot of new players for the Navy this year, so they will want to get the ball down and play.
Abigail Hayes back to Shauna Jenkins, and you've talked about Shauna and the impact she's had in the game last week. Sorry, missing her last week, weren't they? And obviously having that the 2 weeks ago, and then having her back in the side.
I mean, look, she's one of the only players on the pitch that can say they've played European football for their civilian team, and she's a Welsh defender. I mean, we're not quite in Wales, as we said, but she's close enough. She'll feel at home. Yeah, but she played for Swansea in Europe. She's a huge talent, and if the RAF can get her controlling the game from the back, then they will be in a strong position. But like I say, immediately you can see Barrow knows that. Look, Shauna Jenkins might have the strength and pace advantage over her, so she needs to stick on Kat Beaver, and that seems to be what she's doing.
Beaver with the ball at the back, as we mentioned her, to Jenkins.
The RAF have a raft of defenders, by the way. I know Beaver's usually a centre midfielder playing defence right now, but Abigail Hayes playing left back to this afternoon, and she's a centre back usually for UCAF. That's a favoured position, so the RAF do have a lot of options.
And Kat Beaver can score goals as well. We've seen that happen over the years.
I can guarantee you if there's a penalty called today, Kat Beaver will be the first person to step up. But speaking of goals, I'm interested to see how the number 9 for the RAF, Georgia Carr, gets on today, because she's sometimes overshadowed a little bit by the attacking talents around her of Pip Wilson and Lucy Farrow. That's what happened in the first game. Maybe Georgia Carr can be the match winner for the RAF today.
See, that's why I needed him on commentary. Inside knowledge we have here. The RAF though, but losing the ball out to the Navy there. It's not a very expansive game at the minute, but Jenkins on the right wing here.
Strong tackle on Captain in the middle there, by the way. No wonder she's thinking about it being her last game.
The Royal Air Force then, in their second game of this tournament, they had a week off last week to see the Royal Navy beat the Army down in Havant and Waterlooville. but I'm sure they would have been there just to, well, they definitely were there to see what their opposition would be like. And yeah, that's the best I think I've seen the Navy play in a few years. Last week, once they got their heads together, they seem to have that game in hand.
It was a different kind of performance from the Navy. I mean, we saw them last year against the Army get gold and really put on a result that they'll remember for a very long time. But last week against the Army, it was gritty. They had to battle. They had to be... the clean sheet was hugely important.
And the RAF within...
I thought Farrow might have been offside there, but the flag stayed down.
No, they stayed down. And also, but it was running so fast, the goalkeeper was able to pick that up. Lee Black, of course, in the green for the Royal Navy women there in the goalkeeper spot.
Already a few tasty challenges have gone in. That shows the importance of this fixture when the trophy's on the line.
And we saw what a feisty encounter it was for the men's game last week, the Royal Navy against the Army at Fratton Park. The women just as feisty, but they just play slightly differently, don't they?
I mean,
no handbags really. Funnily enough, on this game,
across all sides, it's respectful, especially when they get to UCAF level. But I do find that the women's side of it at UCAF level feels much more of a family setup with the women, whereas the men, there's a lot of respect, but there's a competitive nature to it, even at UCAF level.
Ball forward there from Lucy Farrow, but couldn't find any RAF boots, so it's back in the hands of Lee Black from the Royal Navy. I do love a green goalkeeping outfit, Kyle. I'm all about the colours.
She'll take a lot of confidence from last week as well. I mean, both keepers got clean sheets against the Army. And
do you think that's something the Army are worrying about? I don't really want to talk about the Army, I suppose, when we're watching RAF versus Royal Navy, but from such a force that they must be worried about the fact they didn't even score a goal in the whole campaign.
I think the Army have taken a lot of positives from this tournament. Yes, they have lost both games, but that's what they did last year as well. They're in a real start of a transition phase under their coaching staff, new players, etc. I actually thought they were unfortunate to lose last week against the Navy. Yes, that bit of quality from Barrow, but Anna Birtwistle played really well in the midfield. Next year, I think the Army might be more of a force and could take some people by surprise.
Corner then for the RAF. First meaningful attempt on goal, but that's quite far out. Abigail Hayes feeding it back in, but it finds the Royal Navy head, and they will just dispense the ball. Bavister, though, not able to control it in the middle here, so it's back in RAF. I want to say hands, but of course it's at their feet.
Cracking ball by Farrow, that.
Pip Wilson, what will she do with that? Well defended from the Royal Navy.
Time to get it right for Molly Lambert. Usually a really consistent set piece taker, but she didn't quite get that one. I wonder if there was a bit of miscommunication actually. The ball in and the runs being made were completely different.
But another corner for Molly Lambert for the RAF. And we all love a set piece, and we're, I'm sure, as Chris on commentary last week would have been saying, I'm sure they work hard at these set pieces. Lambert then in for the RAF, reaches the head of, is that Beaver there? Yeah.
Was Kat Beaver the first header? I think it may have been Georgia Carr with the second header. And you're right, set pieces in a game like this where, for me, I don't think we're going to see a 4-5-0 victory either way. I think it's going to be 1-0, 2-1. So a set piece could be huge.
You sat on the fence at the beginning. You still haven't said entirely who you think might win. Just said it's going to be a tight game. I wanted a one-way swing.
I honestly can't call it. That's the problem. That's the problem. I think both sides have got match winners. Both sides have got players who can hurt the opposition. Ask me at half-time. Ask me at half-time.
No, you're allowed to be neutral. It's fine. Kat Beaver then for the RAF to Jenkins. And not many people get past Bavister. She's absolutely skinned her there. Jenkins out to the right wing. And this is a great ball in. Oh, but not as great as I thought. So we've got Ellie Bishop on watching this live stream. She says, cheering my chicks on, up the Navy, get the trophy, get the title, loves you all. So we speak her name and she's thankfully watching. Good to see you, Ellie. We're missing you here, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure she's very disappointed she can't play with injury. I know the Navy are missing her very much, but she's watching. She'll be cheering on them.
Brian Hayes has also messaged to say good luck to Abby Hayes and all the RAF ladies from mum and dad and all the family. And it's always good to know that the extended families of these brilliant military sports people are watching, and we're really happy that we can provide that wherever you are based in the world.
The RAF are just starting to get a little bit of pressure here.
There's a lovely Lucy Farrow there. Yeah, Royal Navy need to not panic here because the RAF are definitely putting pressure on, as you say.
Handball in there. Good decision by the Army official. That unfortunately we don't quite have a name for. We will try and get that.
I am trying to find them out.
But the RAF, yeah, I mean, that will give the Navy a little bit of respite because it was just starting to build the claret shirts going forward.
And I can see a big Navy flag up on the other side of the ground. So Navy support here has been, well, it's pretty obvious, but I'm sure there's plenty of RAF support. We know that some of the UCAF coaches are here as well. Carl Milgate has come to see his ladies play.
This is the RAF's home fixture.
Exactly.
Despite what you see with the kids, it's definitely a kick crime, but we're going with it.
A kick crime.
It's a smart pass. Farrow's starting to get involved a hell of a lot more.
I think she was looking for Pip Wilson there, but found the head of Royal Navy instead. And Georgia Carr trying to challenge the goalkeeper there, and she's done a really good job. Lucy Farrow then.
That was the most unorthodox save I've ever seen in my life.
I had no idea where that went. I think she's actually hurt.
I think it might have hit her in the throat.
Yes,
you know.
She had absolutely no idea where that ball had gone. And she is down, unfortunately. The goalkeeper for the Royal Navy, Lee Black, she looked a bit, I want to say woozy.
But that came from Georgia Carr pushing
just full face.
The goalkeeper, pressing the goalkeeper, and forcing a hurried clearance, let's call it, and the RAF break from there. Farrow will be disappointed there. She had a lot more time.
1-on-1 really, wasn't it?
You would expect someone like Lucy Farrow to find the corner there at least.
I thought last week's game, and both from the Royal Navy and from the Royal Navy obviously had more chances, but there was a lot of goals at the goalkeeper. And it wasn't really until Barrow made that break and had a one-on-one and able to slot one home. But there was a lot, they made the chances, but they seemed to be,
needed that final third quality.
Yes.
There was a lot of shots that could have gone 2 centimetres the other side and it goes in. It's straight at the keeper a lot of the times. It was a bit of quality from Barrow to take it round the goalkeeper. But I should mention she's just limping at the moment on the halfway line, Jade Barrow. She seems to have taken a little bit of a knock, and that would be a huge blow for the Navy if she can't continue. At the moment she's trying to run it off.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't look like cramp, does it? It definitely looks like a niggle. The Royal Navy then probably with their first forward movement, and there's Bavister. Will she save it? Nah, that's just off. Not even Nat Bavister could get to that one.
I mean, Nat Bavister's what she's done for Royal Navy football over the past how many years is incredible, and to say that she's played at the highest level of military football, she's had success for UCAF, she's never had the success for the Royal Navy. She's not lifted that inter-services title. It'd be so important for her. It'd be a dream for her to do that today.
And of course, the Royal Navy, a win for the Royal Navy would break a 3-year cycle in terms of championships, but dating back to 2019, RAF women wins, and that's quite hard to break. I know that in the men's game, the RAF had a hold for at least 7 years.
It's what we see actually in military football, isn't it? Where they build a project and it's successful for an extended period of time, because before the RAF women got control of it, it was the Army women for years and years and years. So it'd be interesting to see if that dynasty of RAF trophies ends today or continues. In both games as well, that men's game later as well, similar sort of story.
Yeah, it's funny how it happens in the military, because I think the Army is sometimes deemed to be so strong, as the RAF have it again. Been some strong Navy defence. Yeah, the Army sometimes historically are seen as dominant, and losing the ball there the Royal Navy in. Oh, it's a bit. I mean, you talked about it being a bit scrappy. This is a bit scrappy, although it's definitely RAF.
The RAF has
positive.
settled better, haven't they? Captain. First time we've really seen her on the ball for the Navy, really.
Yeah, and she's a cool head that you need in situations like this.
Definitely a knock, Barrow there. No chase at all.
Exactly. And that's going to cause problems for the Royal Navy as Hannah Hale clears it for the RAF. But it'll be a Navy throw-in.
But it's a tough night, a tough afternoon potentially for Tony Stewart for the Navy. Number 3 she's got against Lucy Farrow, and that definitely seems to be where Chris Hamilton's RAF team are aiming their attacks. It seems to be that the key player for the RAF. No surprise, Lincoln City is a civilian club where she's been excelling for a few years now.
Captain then looking for Barrow, but Jenkins is fast on the feet as Hayes takes it to Hannah Hale, to Jenkins again. And the RAF playing it safe in their own half at the minute, feeding back to the ever safe feet of Cat Beaver.
I think Chris Hamilton will be pleased with how the RAF have started, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much been all RAF. I mean, we've been looking left pretty much since we started. So the reigning champions then with a very positive start here in the first quarter.
And I wonder how much of that is down to this RAF team have been more or less, apart from 1 or 2 individuals, the same RAF team that won the championship last year, that won the championship the year before. They are experienced in these big match situations when a championship's on the line, whereas the Navy perhaps not as much.
Head knock there for Georgia Carr.
Both, actually.
Yes, both. But Georgia's gone down. Good to see that Lee Black has recovered from her ball in the face. The Royal Navy goalkeeper in all green, and we're just...
They'll take their time here. They will do their concussion testing. Nadina Green's the Navy player who went flying in there. I think the RAF might be a bit unhappy with the challenge, but it looked more of a clash of heads. It's there to win.
It looked 50-50 to me, if I'm honest. Just going to replay that. Yeah, I don't think there's any malice attached to that one. The RAF having a little conflab there in the middle. Few key players. Jenkins, you got Beaver there, of course. I mean, what will they be saying, Carl? Just more of the same and keep... It's not as... it seemed to be very fast-paced last week, a bit hectic, a bit manic. But
they're controlling the game
calmer.
better, the RAF, yeah. I mean, look, from a defensive point of view, they haven't really been challenged yet, but you could see Cat Beaver talking with Pip Wilson there, and it's getting that final third right, getting the right pass, making the right decision. We've only seen one real opportunity in the first 16 minutes or so, but it could have been more if the RAF just made the right decision. I suppose as the players starting to get to their feet, it might be a good time to say we are live on YouTube, we are on Facebook. Make sure you guys are commenting away, getting involved.
So Scarlett Elizabeth has said on come on the RAF ladies, having a cheeky watch during work and cheering on Ashley Housley-Stott and coach Jack Housley-Stott. Super proud of you both, no matter the result. So that is a call out there for the RAF. And yeah, as Carl says, please do tell us where you're watching from. And we know that this is pretty much a family affair, so it's good to get people from all over the world, all over the forces world at least, to tell us where they are. We do get some... I think there's a photo in this clubhouse of a football match being played in Gibraltar, with the rock in the background. So that was a nice sort of military link as we came in. Yeah,
TNS have played across the globe across Europe in the Champions League and stuff. We see there's pictures of them playing at Man City, at Anfield, in Russia, etc. And it's quite nice for the players to walk in and it feels like you're at a big time stadium when you see pictures like that.
It is, and I had a little sneaky look down the gym when we were talking about facilities earlier. I mean, it is a professional football club, but I think I love it. I mean, the military must love this. They come in here and, it's top end stuff, elite club stuff.
We wondered what Beaver and Wilson might have been speaking about. I wonder if it might have been this.
Okay.
A tactic here for the set piece, and we mentioned set pieces being important. I can see Abigail Hayes trying to get round the back. I would imagine this is where it's aiming for.
Molly Lambert then with the free kick for the RAF. But that only finds Royal Navy head, but still got Claret there.
2 deliveries from Molly Lambert she won't be especially pleased with so far.
Royal Navy then playing a very defensive game at the minute because they're having to. They are being pressurised as Lee Black clears the ball
Took a
just
chance there, didn't she?
to Tony Stewart.
RAF are pressing that keeper, pressing the defence well. The Navy can't get out at the moment. That's half the issue.
No, I mean, they're clearing the ball here, but it comes immediately back at them when you've got defence of Shauna Jenkins and Kat Beaver here at the back. It just seems to come straight back at them. So, and they're pressing quite high, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, look, Glenn Long is an experienced coach for the Royal Navy. He's got Kim Stenning on his team as well, who's absolutely superb at what she does. And the Navy will know that they have to sit in and defend at times here. They'll know there'll be a lot of pressure from the RAF. I'd imagine the game plan is sit in, soak it up, but when you get to attack, hit hard. And
this might be one of their best chances. Free kick given in the middle of the field for the Royal Navy, and this feels like only one of the few times I've been looking to the right now for the ladies in white. Trying to find Antea Captain, and they do, and she's got 3 defenders on her. Oh,
smart idea there.
Very good idea.
Tony Stewart
to Shania Fenlon, but it didn't quite work out, and the Royal Air Force are back in possession and building from the back as they have done so many times before.
But now for the RAF, it's building from the back, but breaking down these 2 lines of 4. The Navy are organised, they're determined, they're not going to give much space away.
And trying to find, yes. Pip Wilson again on the right wing for the Royal Air Force, but that one's just overcooked it slightly from Pip. She looks pretty annoyed with that, but it happens.
A player of her quality as well. That's what she's annoyed with. How many times has she been in that situation and found the perfect cross, found the perfect pass? That's 2 opportunities she's had really on the right hand side already. And I think it's Lily Chubb out there for the Royal Navy. She's struggling actually to keep Pip Wilson quiet.
So goal kick for Royal Navy women. Lee Black, who took a smash to the face a few minutes earlier, but seems to have recovered. As Royal Air Force are back in possession and back to their goalkeeper, Jamie Lee Bamford. A lot
of people are excited about Jamie Lee Bamford being involved in military football now. I would expect her to get a UCAF call up later in the summer. Obviously, I'm not Carl Milgate. I don't make that decision, but
he is Kyle Dixon, though. I mean, and Carl Milgate will be listening. So
no, I'm sure. But I would expect her to be in that conversation. She's an incredibly talented goalkeeper, plays high-level civilian football, which is something that has to go into the conversation at UCAF level.
Bavister then with a tackle. I'm not quite sure who that came off.
Another RAF corner. Third of the game.
So it's Molly Lambert who's been taking the corners so far, and she's stepping up again. All from that far corner for us.
The RAF do have the height advantage as well, by the way. You've got Shauna Jenkins, who is very good in the air. We know Beaver's good in the air. Abigail Hayes got a goal on a UCAF debut last year. Georgia Carr is around the goalkeeper.
As Lambert feeds it in. Oh, again. Well, we just talked about Lucy Farrow there and her.
Well, it was one of the players that I hadn't mentioned actually, Pip Wilson, who just couldn't stretch a little bit more.
Hannah Hale denied by the Royal Navy, but it'll be an RAF throw-in.
I spoke before the game about the Navy will want to grow into this. If they get to half-time, still in the game, they'll be happy. Already they're starting to get more and more encouragement, more and more confidence.
Don't jinx them, Kyle.
Well, the commentator's curse is the thing you can't avoid.
The RAF's pressure in their own, well, on their goal line is brilliant. So this, just a reminder for anyone joining us, this is the final women's match in the Inter-Services, and we will of course be bringing you live coverage of Royal Navy versus RAF men later this evening. That's live from Shrewsbury Town at 18:45 for a 1900 kickoff. So do join us again. And if you don't fancy the football, there's also some boxing on the Forces News YouTube as well. There's Inter-Services boxing, which I know will bring in the crowds later, Kyle. And the sports team is well split today, isn't it?
We're everywhere. We're doing everything. And I mean, should say on that note, and I mentioned it on the radio earlier today, if you are wanting to watch the football, but you know you're going to want to watch the boxing too, don't worry. You can go back tomorrow and watch them again. That's what the beauty is of us broadcasting live on YouTube. So don't panic. You can watch it all, and we do expect you to watch it all.
Yes, the expectation. I mean, not many people have Wednesdays off to watch sport live on BFBS, but we are doing our best for you. As Lee Black again brings quite a high ball in for the Royal Navy.
Good header from... I nearly called her Widows again there. She's going to kill me
Barrow,
for that.
of course, yes. Recently married, so married Nate Barrow. But she was already such a strong player, Jade Widows. It's quite difficult to get used to a new name.
Hat-trick against the Army, of course. Last year, scored against the Army last week. She didn't get a goal against the RAF, though, last year. I'm sure that'll be on her hit list.
Vicky Jasper has said Shania Fenlon hat-trick. That's a prediction. There you go. Big Royal Navy fan there on YouTube. As the Air Force have another chance, but it's cleared by the Royal Navy.
See, that's where I'm just wondering if Georgia Carr can be a little bit more urgent there. That brilliant run from the left from Farrow, ball across, and you want your number 9 to get there across the defender, and Georgia Carr was just a little bit caught on her heels.
The RAF again. Oh, that's a pretty weak shot, unfortunately. I think maybe she thought someone could be on the end of that, but another one straight into the goalkeeper's hands from Georgia Carr there.
Pot shot, but why not? Sometimes they come off. Just ask Anna Birtwhistle against the RAF last year.
Remember that. Ooh. I mentioned there were no handbags, but that was pretty feisty there. Antea Captain penalised from the Royal Navy. Maybe
just a little bit of Navy frustration from the attacking players there, Captain. Abigail Hayes came out of it with a big smile on her face. She knew what she was doing.
We don't often see them challenging the referee in the women's game, but and now Jade Barrow's being called in for a chat as well.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that wasn't considered kicking the ball away.
So maybe a little bit of frustration from these two Royal Navy players, Jade Barrow and Antea Captain.
Barrow's got a huge smile on her face. She was playing a game with Shauna Jenkins, I think, there. The referee from the Army. I mean, looks like she's heading to the pocket, potentially.
Oh, no, I think it's just a heated conversation. Yeah.
I mean, they've got to play by the rules. The rules are the rules.
But the thing is, I don't want to say wind up the referee, but you don't want to get in their books where they're watching you with extra special care.
Yeah.
Jenkins then to Cat Beaver as the RAF again push their advantage.
Dominating the pitch, the RAF. That's what they'll be pleased with. That's a smart pass, though.
Barrow just not at full speed. She definitely isn't at full speed, Kyle. But she'll be determined to stay on the pitch, I'm sure.
Bamford did well, though. She was quick off her line. Good positioning from the keeper. We do have the floodlights on here, by the way, which is rare for a 2 p.m. kickoff. But that just shows that
it's gloomy here.
The skies are a bit dark. And it could throw the RAF game plan completely out the window if the heavens open.
Yeah, let's hope that any rain holds off for now, purely so this is a fair play team. But I tell you what, it's a lovely pitch. It's not like they're going to come off as if they, 10 years ago with all brown and all the same colour.
That backing noise you hear is not rain, I promise you. There is still work being done to the stand opposite us.
I think there's work being done to this stand as well. That's what worries me slightly. I brought my binoculars actually today because I knew we had a really good position, but sometimes I struggle to see faces on the other side.
I'm not saying anything.
Perhaps I need to go and see a glass specialist, or glasses specialist, as the Royal Navy are forced to bring the ball back to their goalkeeper and more pressure from the RAF. But a lovely clear ball there.
Communication needs to be better. It's a good ball, that.
Captain to Grace O'Leary. Haven't seen much of O'Leary actually here on the right wing.
She's just so strong, Abigail Hayes. That was really confident defending. She knew that O'Leary wouldn't match her in a physical battle. Got her body across. Good defending.
Alan Fraser has come onto YouTube and said, "Come on, the army." So I assume he's a fan of the referees, maybe.
Yeah.
The RAF then.
You have to admire his unwavering support.
Maybe he's just preempting next year, the 2025 tournament. Alan Fraser, see what the army can do for you then.
Maybe the Navy can start to build an attack here.
Yeah, finally a bit of speed and a bit of momentum forward. Lovely to Bavister, but I think that's going to go off, yeah. Right thought, but even Bavister, the wheels can't get to that.
Just needs that little bit of composure. It's a very wide pitch as well, it should be said here. I heard, I think it was actually the official in the middle speaking earlier, talking about the fact that the size of this pitch compared to some of the military pitches that these players can play on, it is a very big pitch.
Yeah, and that's why I can't see faces on the other side. It's got nothing to do with my age.
That must be it.
It's just a really wide pitch. Captain, she's just forever on it, isn't it? I mean, I feel like she could go for another 10 years, to be honest. Wherever she also played basketball for the Royal Navy as well, so that's at least 3 sports I've seen her feature in at inter-services level.
I don't think we're done seeing her on our BFBS screens live. In fact, she's going to get a book in here.
She is. Well, it's probably
totting up.
Yeah, I think this will be the conversation they had earlier. And now I say feisty because obviously she was penalised and the Cat Beaver are there for the RAF gets a free kick. So Antea Captain doesn't want her last game for the Royal Navy to result in a red card. So,
well, she's fiery. We know that.
Yes, we know that. And emotions in this game. If it is indeed her last game, that will all be wrapped up in it as well. Jenkins then for the RAF. Back to Beaver.
This
really high press there for
game of defence versus attack continues. And actually, at where we had half an hour into the game, while the RAF have had a couple of half chances, the Navy have done really well to limit them to these moments. It's a strong Navy defence. It is organised. It is determined to go into half time. You would imagine 0-0. It feels like a game plan from Glenn Long.
I love our audience. Kyle, another Kyle Doherty. Referee is Levi Gray.
There we go.
We should know that. Thank you so much. I did not do my homework and find out the officials before the match. So
she's having a good game, Levi Gray. We talk about that booking to captain.
You've got to have those conversations, though.
She gave her a warning.
Yep.
Immediately, a minute later, there's another late challenge, let's say, and look, good decision from the ref.
Bavister then fighting all she can for the Royal Navy, but can't quite keep that one in. We've got the beauty of having the coaching teams below us, and there's some choice language, not quite as bad as Fratton Park last week, but
and if anyone made out the Scottish twang, you can tell it's Chris Hamilton, the RAF boss, who was great on co-coms with us last week.
Yeah, brilliant.
Surprised himself that he didn't need any subtitles, so
or a beat button.
Yeah.
It's incredible how our language is modified once we get in front of a microphone. Lee Black then probably not, with a bit of a spiral kick there. Captain again back in on the action.
Think a booking will stop her? Absolutely not.
No. She's going to make an impression, but Levi Gray in the middle, still smiling, so that's good to see. Jade Barrow and Shauna Jenkins there having a bit of a tussle. Oh, and it really, you know, hurts
Medina
a bit
Green,
to
that
fall.
was, again. She sat on the floor and just turned to the RAF bench and said, well, I think I did get the ball.
Yeah, RAF throw in, back to Jenkins. Over to Beaver, and this is a familiar pattern emerging here for the RAF as they build from the back to Hannah Hale. Lovely ball forward, but it's just got a bit too much on it for Lucy Farrow. But that was a lovely ball from Hannah Hale.
We're seeing this centre-back partnership for the Royal Navy of Green and Kelsey Miller really now starting to gel. They played together for the first time last week, kept a clean sheet, were very good. Then they are doing it again in this first 35 minutes or so. It's going to be up to a Georgia Carr, a Farrow to just show that bit of quality to break through.
The RAF being forced back a bit, but it means that they can press from pretty high. Beaver then with the ball. Oh, that was a mistake, but well rescued by the RAF.
Nice idea from Carr, but a little bit forced at times.
Jenkins then to Lambert, back to Jenkins to Beaver. Back to Lambert in the middle. That's good defence. Barrow then with the ball. And she's got Grace O'Leary again.
Wants a free kick, but it's just a massive physicality difference when you're taking on a player like Abby Hayes.
Abby Hayes then bringing the ball back. Yeah, and do you know what? Lee Black is Georgia Carr is threatening the goalkeeper every time the ball's anywhere near her, and it's forcing not the greatest clearances from the girl in green.
Just smart forward play from Carr, who, like I mentioned earlier, may not get the headlines, and she'll want to get the headlines, she'll want to get the goals, but she's one of these strikers that her all-round play earns her place in the team.
Hannah Hale's having a really good game. She's been not quiet, but very effective, if that makes sense, every time she's been the ball.
I mean, she's playing that number 6 role that she doesn't want to be the headline. She doesn't want people going, oh, look, here she is again doing this. She just wants to go about a game, win a tackle, pass it off to a more dangerous player. And so far, the RAF look comfortable.
Yeah, like I said, we are craning our necks left more than we are right in this first half of Interservices football. The score remains 0-0 here at the New Saints Football Club. And although the floodlights are on, it is a gloomy afternoon here, but it is not raining. So I'm going to try not to jinx that.
It's got the feel of a real cup tie, so to speak, with the Navy knowing they're in a position where they might consider themselves the underdogs against this RAF juggernaut, and they're playing.
Oh!
Well blocked, actually.
Yeah. Megan Herbert with the strike then, but a brilliant block, and they're all pointing at each other, and yeah, definitely a feeling of a cup tie.
I understand frustration from Hannah Hale there, but there's no need to kick it at the referee like that. That was interesting. But no, look, the Navy are playing this underdog role, and I just wonder.
Another yellow card for Shania Fenlon then from the Royal Navy.
I just wonder if, as the game goes along, we know the Navy have to win. At some point, they're going to have to start rolling the dice. The last thing they will want is to concede before half time.
Yeah.
But Cat Beaver can do this from this distance.
Yes, and a familiar position for the Royal Air Force captain. And like we've said, these set pieces will have been probably playing through her mind last night as well as anything else.
She couldn't ask for a better position here, Cat Beaver. It's just far out enough that she can get it up and over the wall. If she aims for a corner here, Lee Black might be in a bit of trouble.
So Beaver, she's also got Molly Lambert to her right. I don't know who's going to take it at the minute.
Lambert can certainly strike a free kick. She's been over all the set pieces so far for the RAF, so that could be the call.
The play. Well, let's have a look. Yeah, Beaver to Lambert. Ooh, I mean, it was in the right area, but just a little bit too high, Carl, from Lambert.
Decent effort, but she just got under it a little bit.
So another chance for the RAF goes begging. It is still 0-0 here as we approach half-time. We're just a couple of minutes off now. And the ball's back with Royal Navy goalkeeper Lee Black after a free kick from Molly Lambert. Just a few inches too high. And as Kyle said, the Navy, I think, will be glad to go in to half-time with a draw because the RAF pressure has been pretty high-paced.
It has been high-paced, but designed that way, it feels.
Of course, we expected that.
It's not that the Royal Navy are struggling defensively. They look a real strong unit, but they're playing that defensive style at the moment to potentially steal an opportunity like this.
Bavister to Grace O'Leary, who has been quite quiet this first half, but the last few minutes has sparked up as she's needed to captain.
Good ball.
Forward for Leary again. Oh, she's just fed that in, but didn't quite have enough oomph on it. And Jenkins is backing the ball for the RAF to Lucy Farrow.
Time to turn for Georgia Carr. Look at Jenkins go.
Jenkins has absolutely rinsed that left wing into Georgia Carr, and this is one of the best chances they've had so far. Farrow being held. Farrow felt she was held there, I think.
I think it's been given as a foul on the goalkeeper. There's a bit of a collision in mid-air between Wilson and Lee Black. So,
it's Pitt Wilson, sorry, not...
again, Lee Black in the wars.
Well,
it was a really good opportunity for the RAF, though. It was for once that Navy defence faltered a little bit, missed the header in their own penalty area, and
they had numbers. They'll be frustrated with that, actually. The RAF, it seemed to be all claret there for a minute.
Just couldn't quite bounce down for Wilson. Georgia Carr was in there too.
Lee Black then certainly in on the action in this first half. It remains 0-0. Georgia Carr desperately trying to get it back for the Royal Air Force.
And she does, for a moment.
But Shania Fenlon clears it.
Just keeps coming back, though.
It does. This
Farrow and Wilson are switch wings, by the way.
Oh, nice from Lee Black, lovely. That'll be why I thought it was Farrow in there, but it was actually Pitt Wilson.
Good goalkeeping from Lee Black there. Commanding, just now can take a breather, reset, and we go again for another sequence. But these long clearances from the Navy are leading to nothing, it seems. This might, though. Captain.
And Barrow, but Jenkins has fought it off.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Barrow, if Barrow's running against a Cat Beaver there, she's probably got the speed advantage against Jenkins, who's speed, power, smart ball player.
And we think maybe Barrow's not at 100% either.
She may have run it off a little bit.
Yeah,
now.
she may have done. So, again, one of a rare visit into the Royal Navy's half.
Foul throw, that.
Oh dear.
I just wonder if Glenn Long, he'll be sitting on the bench thinking, yeah, this is good for now. How do we go forward trying to win this game? And
yes.
I just wonder if...
Because that doesn't look likely at the minute.
Well, I just wonder if...
Because they've been sitting back a bit.
If a Grace O'Leary might switch wings and have more
Pitt
joy.
Wilson here on the left wing. Oh! Georgia Carr. Yeah, just a tiny tip on that, and she had an open goal.
I mean, I'm not quite sure how she hasn't connected with the cross. She got across the defender. She did exactly what I sort of said she should have done earlier in the game, and she got across the defender and just seemed to miss the shot completely.
I think she was being well defended. I want to sort of pipe up for the Royal Navy there. I think Captain was on her, and she can be pretty physical. Lambert then for the RAF. Back. Oh, lovely clearance there from Lily Chubb. She's had a tough time, whoever she's defending on that wing.
We know the RAF strength are in their wide positions. They're two, I'm not going to say best players, because each player has got their own quality in their different positions for both teams, but a real strength of these wide areas for the RAF. And I know from what Chris said to us off camera last week, it's a position that he will be challenging for on the wide positions. It's where he thinks the RAF will get joy today. I can see why. That'll be a kick the ball away. I don't think she realised that it wasn't in play there, but that will be a yellow card, I'd imagine, for Tony Stewart.
Oh dear, another one for the Royal Navy. Levi Gray then in the middle there. Babister's coming in to plead on her player's behalf.
I don't think she heard the whistle, to be honest.
Okay.
But we heard the whistle, so the referee will say she should have heard the whistle, and she gets a yellow card. She's not happy about it at all.
She ran away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it could cause a major problem for her in those wide positions we're mentioning. The last thing she's going to want is to be walking on this tightrope against Lucy Farrow, against Pip Wilson. So Tony Stewart it's going to be a long second half for her.
Levi Gray currently having a conversation with the Navy head coach Glenn, and she's trying, I think, possibly trying to explain why and her reasons.
Yeah,
that's quite unusual to come out here and talk to the coach.
I think Glenn sticks up for his player, saying, look, she didn't hear the whistle, she thought it was in play, and look, the referee's is being strong in her decision making, which she has to be. And she said to Glenn, I heard her say there, she knew what she was doing. It is a yellow card by the book.
Yeah, that's what it's got to be, and it's got to be consistent.
And as much as I understand Glenn and Nat Bavister trying to stick up for their player, if it was the other way around, they would be the first people calling for a yellow card. So
3 minutes called for extra time at the end of this first half, due to a couple of moments, not necessarily big injuries, but that and yellow cards has put 3 minutes on the end of this first half, and it remains goalless here at the New Saints FC.
Just waiting for something to explode, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you mentioned it felt like a cup tie because so much is at stake that you almost get that, not so much nervy, it's more like caution. No one wants to do anything flair in case it doesn't work, because then that could backfire. But
the one time we've seen the Navy as an attacking threat, 30 seconds later the RAF had perhaps their best chance of the game. So that's what will worry them.
Lambert. Ooh. Lambert nearly squeezed one in there past Lee Black, but she didn't really have full control of that ball, so it was more of a hope for.
She did really well to get a shot away. Actually, she was falling backwards. It's a really difficult attempt for her, but she's got that quality, and she nearly found the corner. It was a good save actually from Black,
and it has given the RAF another corner, and Lambert will take that. And so far they haven't capitalised on these corners, but Cat Beaver going forward for the short option, but Lambert will.
It has just dragged Lily Chubb off the front post, by the way.
Interesting. So Lambert then with the feed in, but not at all accurate, unfortunately. As we approach half time here, it remains goalless between the RAF women and the Royal Navy.
It's a corner kick that probably just about sums up that first half. A lot of hard work, a lot of effort, just lacking that final third quality.
So if it remains this way, the RAF women will win the title due to their 2-0 win against the Army, whereas the Royal Navy only beat the Army 1-0. And so suddenly those matches will come back to haunt them, but there's a whole other half to go here and anything can happen. And actually what we've seen this tournament so far, as Georgia Carr has a chance, but it is well taken away by Nadina Green there.
Really great defending from Green.
Yeah. a lot of the two games we've seen so far in this inter-services, would you say the second half has definitely had more excitement and more action in it?
Yeah, I mean, look, the second half, it gets to a point, particularly today it will as well, where some teams are going to have to go for broke, some teams are going to have to change their game plan. When the Navy start to open this game up, we'll get more chances. And the second half, that they will have to open this game up. 0-0 isn't good enough for them.
No. And the RAF by no means will be thinking, oh well, if we draw, we're going to win by goal difference. They will, like you said, they want the big wins that they've had for the last few years. They want to go and win outright, and that means winning this game.
Well, yeah, I mean, Chris Hamilton will be pleased, but I think he will also be saying to his players, we've got the ball, we've got the pressure, we've got the moment. Let's just take a minute, calm down, think about what we're doing, because at the moment a lack of composure is the reason we're 0-0.
So we are at half-time here at the New Saints FC. It is 0-0. The Royal Air Force women against the Royal Navy women for this final fixture in this 2024 Inter-Services. And Kyle, just a quick summation of that first half before we go to a little break.
It felt like a attack versus defence training sequence, but in the way that the attackers couldn't get through that defence. The Royal Navy defence will be really pleased with their work. Green and Miller have played really well. Not many chances for the RAF really to get a goal advantage. This has got to open up in the second half. The Navy will have to change the game plan. The RAF will hope that means more space for them. I think this is going to get really excited in the next 45.
So that's it from me and Kyle for this half. Do join us again. We're just going to take a quick break now as we look back on highlights from last week's match between the Royal Navy women and the Army women.
Good win by Barrow, and she's spun nicely. She's gone for goal. Daisy Burnfield had to be smart down to her left-hand side. Are starting to settle. Both sides have had moments, but neither side has really took advantage of them yet. Bavister might here. It's a good ball in. Can Barrow get on the end of it? She will get there, but the angle was always going to be too tight. Army corner. Right under the goalkeeper, who's just had it taken off her hands, I think. Fisher. Jones back in there. And it will fall for Edwards. The flag's gone up. Edwards has put it in the back of the net. She's not happy. And actually, from our position, look, we're not in the position the linesman is. I think Edwards might have been onside there.
Here we go again.
She's got Barrow in the penalty area. Courtney Jones cuts it out, but it nearly landed in the back of her own net. Great keeping from Burnfield. The Army living on the edge. Chrissy Wright in.
Run perfect there.
Chrissy Wright into the penalty area then. And she's going to take her on. Chrissy Wright onto her right foot.
And there's the difference. If you time your runs, that's a great run, a great through ball, and they'll count it as a big opportunity miss.
Great ball by Edwards again. Into Wright. Chrissy Wright. Terrific save from Lee Black. Kept saying with the right-footed delivery. Towards the back post. It's bounced around in there. And it could go anywhere. And it drops away. I think there was a save in there from Burnfield, but that is scrappy in that Army box. Barrow with a left-footed strike, and it will fall. Side netting for Abby Hindman. Angle was always tight, would have been difficult. And here's Edwards looking to show us her game. Great tackle again from Nadina Green. Strong in there, that's a beautiful ball through. And this is the chance that Barrow's been waiting for. Jade Barrow around the goalkeeper and gives the Navy the lead. Who else? Who else but Jade Barrow against the Army for the Navy? There was only going to be one goal scorer tonight. She's been waiting for 73 minutes for that opportunity. She's over the free kick here. A goal here would give the Army life in this title. It's bounced all the way through and somehow it hasn't gone in the back of the net. Saw Croucher in there trying to get on the end of it. Burt Whistle with the corner. And it bounced off the keeper's arms into the bar. Edwards with a shot. The Navy just got to get it clear. It's hacked clear, and that's a wasteful effort in the end by Isabel Crooks. And the Navy do what they have to. Scrappy at times, but the class of Jade Barrow against the Army again provides the winner. Really big mistake, and the Army take the lead.
And the RAF have it in the back of the net. Ball goes down, and the referee says that is a penalty. Chance though for the Air Force, that's a great save.
Whipped in towards the near post, he's headed on, and into the back of the net. Cross in towards the near post, he's flicked on, it's a chance at the back, and Campbell does get his goal.
It's a shot, and it's a second goal.
Excited, obviously a little bit sort of less because there was less of a crowd and stuff today, but really looking forward to it Wednesday. I've worked hard like the past couple of months for this, so happy to be here.
So it's just a scorecard after I won every round in the fight, so it's a clean sweep overall. So wasn't going there Wednesday. I know the RAF heavyweight lad I beat him before Christmas, so just do the same again, and then I'll be lifting that title.
Lovely space there by Nat.
Yes.
Gorgeous speed, good connection there into Fit.
And Bateson in again. 4-1 to the RAF. How hard is it to maintain this intensity for 60 minutes? I know, we have subs coming in and what have you, but it's pretty hard when you go full out like this.
Absolutely, it is, and you get them moments luckily when you're either end of the court, but I feel for the centres who are back and forth all the time,
and they just want to keep that ball safe before this quarter ends. Faye will go for the quick. Kennard Kettle with another. Oh no, and it wasn't to be.
So we have a penalty shot before.
Oh, okay. So Bateson takes the steps in. And she puts them up 7-4 as we finish that first quarter. My apologies, still only 6-4.
Nice drive by Rachel.
The Army will be absolutely desperate to get level for the first time. It is 10-9 to the Air Force, but ladies in red and black, of course.
Another lovely little drop ball by Ellie there to Millie. It's very hard to get around to get them, isn't it, Hef?
They're either going to pop it in the air or put it down low, and you never know which one is going to be with them. But it will be one of them.
You must have to do a lot of those high-low exercises, Hetty, to try and win over that one. So it is all square here in Aldershot. It is 10-all. The Army could now go, as both defences are penalised. Millie Price has a clear shot on goal, and the Army are ahead for the first time, 11-10. Calm down, says Maisie Osborne. Calm down, yes. Oh, and the time is gone. So, half-time. It is 18-11 to the reigning champions, the British Army. I mean, Hetty, I joked about yours and Faye's relationship when you were playing against each other the other day. But we've seen, throughout these 3 days, as Maisie Osborne puts another one in for the RAF to Millie Price. Oh, no, sorry, to Marion, then to Millie Price. Great vision by Jakeman. Great vision. It's like a jack in the box.
That's what she does so well.
Oh, Millie Price, brilliant.
And rewarded by her shooters as well.
That's a Dee Bolakuro goal, I think.
Yeah.
38 seconds of play here. Well, you all deserved it, but it's been 3 hard-fought games, 3 hard-fought days of netball. I know there have been more games in the Open as well. Millie Price just takes that one out, unfortunately. So RAF ball, we are 15 seconds in, but yeah, any team, any player would have been deserving of this championship.
Oh, absolutely.
Lovely.
Absolutely.
Oh,
what
is
a long ball.
Noelle going to have the glory? No. The RAF have got 1 second, and the Army win 36 goals, 229. They were reigning champions, they are hosts, and they have yet again taken a clean sweep at this Inter-Services Netball Championship.
Oh, she's got her down.
Is a winner.
Hello and welcome back to the New Saints FC for this final half of the final game, the Inter-Services Women's Football 2024, and it is 0-0 between the Royal Air Force women and the Royal Navy women. And just in case you are aware that the men's match is also happening this evening, that's the same opposition, so Royal Navy and Royal Air Force, or Royal Air Force I should say, as the hosts, and they'll be playing at Shrewsbury Town, which will be live from 18:45 this evening on the BFBS Sports Show YouTube, because there is also Inter-Services Boxing live from Aldershot on the Forces News YouTube. And like nil here, Kyle, but like we said, BFBS Sport is everywhere. There's just a couple of questions I wanted to answer from our audience that have come in during the half-time break. One from Cherry Casey, who said, who got yellow carded? Well, Cherry, Antair Captain Jade Barrow and Tony Stewart from the Royal Navy, all senior service, I'm afraid, all got yellow carded. So Antair Captain is in fact on a warning, and then a yellow. So
I mean, I think it shows the pressure that the RAF have put them under.
Yes.
That the Navy have got 3 yellow cards. I mean, Tony Stewart will be frustrated by getting a yellow card, as it was a kicking the ball away type of thing. But she does have a booking, yeah.
She does have a booking. And Jade Barrow's hubby, he says, go Navy, go Jade, your hubby William is watching from Norway. WBES, so there we go. Mr. Barrow, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you're proud of your girl playing out here. And also, Hal Poland, I hope I'm saying that right, it's actually Poland. Hal Poland, come on Air Force, from Harriet and Hal, injured club watching from the game from Dubai.
Absolutely, that's what we'd like to see. Let us know where you're watching from. The furthest wins
What does it win?
the competition, not a prize.
You win pride, the pride at stake, because Kyle hasn't got anything to give.
Absolutely. I think the RAF might be making a couple of changes, by the way. We was watching them warm up, and it's rare that you see substitutes warm up in full kit. I think that might mean a change. I could be wrong, we'll see.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that for you.
Maybe they were just warm.
Yeah, I mean, it's not chilly here. The lights are on. It's a little bit gloomy, but we are looking forward to, I think, pick up the pace in the second half. I think that's what both teams potentially will be looking to do, but obviously want to keep that control, when particularly the RAF, the control that they had in the first half. The Royal Navy possibly need to step up a couple of gears.
I think this second half might be completely different to the first, where the Navy are going to come out and have to try and take the game to the RAF. That will give space for the likes of Farrow, for the likes of Pitt Wilson. I think this could go either way. If the Navy can get a goal, then it is completely all to play for.
Well, I mean, that'll be all it will take for either of these sides to win is a win. And I know that sounds simple on paper, because a 1-0 win, a 2-0 win, a 4-1 win, whatever. But when you're locked, and Kyle said, and he's obviously been keeping a very close eye on these teams over the inter-services for the last few weeks, and you said it was too tight to call. At the moment, from my perspective, the Royal Air Force women certainly look more in control, but they haven't made much of their chances, and I think that can be, if the Navy just need one chance, possibly a Barrow run or something like that, then it could be a very different result.
I'd imagine that's what Chris Hamilton's got in the back of his head, a little bit of a worry of, we've had that 45 minutes, we've been the better team. I don't think anyone's debating the fact that the Air Force were the better team in the first half, but they don't have a goal to show for it. This game, inter-services level, you can get punished for that. So let's see what the Navy bring in the second half. The Navy are going to be the key to this, because if the Navy sit in like they have, the RAF are going to struggle to break them down, but it won't be enough for the Navy. They are going to need all 3 points today to be champions, and champions for the first time in a long time. I mean, we tried to do a bit of research into the last time they won the championship. We don't have that sort of research on our systems anywhere. That's how long ago it was that the Navy were champions, if they ever were.
So this potentially then one of the best Navy teams we've seen in a few many years, led by Kat Bavister. I'm getting the two captains mixed up.
There's a player, isn't it?
And Kat Beaver. Yeah, combination of the two. What a player we'd have there. So Georgia Carr then for the Royal Air Force will kick off the second half. And haven't spotted any changes yet.
No, it doesn't look like there is. The RAF clearly quite happy, more of the same. Changes will come in the second half, I'm sure. But we'll see how it goes. Neither side have made a change, to be fair.
As the ball falls to Royal Navy, but a bit of a punt for nothing there. And will be picked up by Bamford in the Air Force goal. And Kat Beaver pleading with her with all the space she's got there at the back.
The Navy are happy to have Beaver and Jenkins on the ball here. They see that as the safe zone. It's when it gets into Molly Lambert or Megan Herbert in midfield. Bit loose that from Beaver.
Ashley Housley stopped then on the ball, but it's gone off, and it is a Royal Navy throw-in under our commentary gantry here at the New Saints FC. TNS you called them, I assume that's the
New Saints, yeah, sorry, TNS.
An accepted nickname.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It's what I always knew them as growing up.
I defer to your greater knowledge, Kyle, when it comes to football. And yeah, a local for you, really. I mean, you're not far away, are you?
Yeah, only an hour away. So these are the easy days.
To think we made you come all the way to Havant. The Royal Navy then in possession, but way back in their own half as they try and get more positivity on the ball and move it forward. Grace O'Leary, we've had a message from Grace's family.
Sorry, before you get to that, I just want to mention that I think there has been a Navy change just gone unnoticed. They don't get the boards out anymore.
No.
Abby Hindman's come on and he's now in that right wing position. It's moved Grace O'Leary into the midfield, so we'll just work on getting the name of the player who's come off for you. But
so Abby Hindman then in shirt number 14. So one change for the Royal Navy, but none for the RAF.
Might be Kate Bowden who's come off, actually. I don't think I can see Kate Bowden on the pitch anywhere.
Ashley Housley-Stott to Georgia Carr to Lucy Farrow, and that's been stolen by the Navy, but Farrow trying to fight it back.
The RAF have got to do better with these corners now. That first half, we never really saw them take advantage of these opportunities. They do have the height, they do have the ball quality. They're taking it short, though.
Yeah, to get a bit more, because the RAF then possibly gone short, because a lot of the ones that have gone long have gone over the goal and out of bounds, so to speak. So possibly taking a safety option there. Interesting change though from Glenelong to get Hindman on. She had a substitute appearance against the Army last week, did okay from the bench, so she's going to get more time here, and I think a lot of it is moving Grace O'Leary into the centre of midfield to get her involved in the game a little bit more. Against Abby Hayes in that first half on the right hand side, O'Leary just couldn't contest against the strength of Abby Hayes. So in the centre of the midfield, Pip Wilson from a massive distance has absolutely opened up this game. We did not see that coming, Carl.
I mean, look, Pip Wilson, the quality she's got, that comes out of nowhere, yeah. And the Navy just sat on the floor there as they say, what can you do about that? What a goal that is. To strike it from that distance, Pip Wilson, two-footed player, yes, but to strike it from that distance, top corner, that is a peach.
So Shauna Jenkins had loads of space. She received the ball on the sort of midline and took it forward. Had loads of space, but she obviously saw, the space and the sort of, well, I want to say she saw Pip Wilson and basically Pip just punted it.
It's a terrific strike, and that just shows what we're talking about. That look, that weren't even the RAF's best chance of the game, but that quality, that composure, brilliant goal. And now the Navy, the game plan's out the window. Now they have to get at them.
And it gives the RAF such a boost. You know, they were already in control, and just getting that goal on the scoreboard makes such a big difference. As Georgia Carr fights for it in the corner, but it is kicked off by Kelsey Miller there.
For info's sake, it wasn't Kate Bowden who came off for the Navy. She's still on the field. It was Shania Fenlon, actually, I believe, who came off. Bowden and O'Leary is your centre of midfield now. It's a more attacking midfield for the Navy, and now it has to be. They have to take the game to the RAF.
That will have thrown them as the rain starts to come down here in the second half.
Smart play from Farrow.
Yeah. Wow, Pip Wilson. I want to see that goal again. Be well worth watching a highlights reel on that one. As the RAF still had the ball. Barrow fighting for it, but Beaver pressing high with Jenkins, who I think really started that move off by getting the ball to Farrow.
The strike from Wilson is a goal worthy of winning any championship, it should be said.
Georgia Carr then, can she keep this in? Oh, just into the side netting.
Couldn't position her body to get around the ball there.
Yeah, brilliant.
And all of a sudden, look, you can see the urgency from the Navy.
That's the word I was looking for at half-time. Urgency from both sides. That's what we needed to see more of.
Well, that goal will change things down for the Navy. They have to take the game. The Navy need two now.
Jenkins then, quite deep in to Carr.
The space. Herbert.
To Farrow. And will she strike it from there? Oh, got the side netting.
But great move.
If you compare them to those shots on goal to the first half, there's a lot more, I want to say oomph, there's a lot more power behind them.
I just wonder there if Megan Herbert picked the wrong option. Spread it wide to Farrow, and actually the ball through to Jenkins might have been a better option. Farrow did well though. And as much as the Navy have got to take the game to the RAF, and yes, they need 2 goals to stand any chance of winning this trophy, that will give the RAF every bit of space they need to maybe go on and win this 2 or 3-0.
Bavister then to Barrow. She's in a foot race against Shauna Jenkins. Jenkins wins that. Lost unfortunately by Grace O'Leary, but Royal Navy have definitely stepped up the gears that they need. And Georgia Carr,
the worst time to concede for the Navy as well, by the way. A few minutes into the second half, and Glenelong will be absolutely gutted with the timing of the goal. Now they're getting all the space.
Yeah, there's a lot more urgency out there. The ball speed seems to have upped a notch or two. Maybe the rain has been a blessing for this game.
Yeah, the ball moves quicker on the pitch. That will absolutely help, but it is a mentality thing. I think we can see that goal again. By the way, what a strike this is from Pitt Wilson. Just to get the ball out of her feet and to hit it the way that she did. She's on the ball again.
A bit of open play. Oh, lovely back heel there. Absolutely lovely back heel. Yeah, the RAF trying everything.
Well, after you've seen Pitt Wilson just do what she's done, why not?
I think Pitt Wilson had a bit more height on that, Ashley, but like I said, a bit more power behind these shots, and the RAF have certainly come out here.
That's a smart
guns
pass.
Fighting lovely to Georgia Carr, but the flag was up.
Really great vision from Beaver. So how did the Navy now go about getting 2 goals? I mean, we thought this was going to be tight, and if the Navy nick a 1-0, they'd have been happy. Now they need 2. The game plan has to be changed. I'm not sure going long with these kicks is helping anyone either.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately, as Barrow tries to save it, but...
Barrow needs more players around her. She's on her own against Jenkins and Beaver, and it's too much of a challenge for her to do it on her own. She needs Captain, she needs O'Leary, who's now been moved into that central midfield position. She needs the substitute Hindman to get around her and start playing the football the Navy want to play.
Do you think O'Leary was moved there because she had quite a quiet first half, but when she was on the ball, she was obviously very effective, and so they wanted her to be more in the game, maybe? I
know the Navy think very highly of Grace O'Leary, and she is someone who can change a game when the ball's at her feet, and they just couldn't get the ball to her on that right-hand side.
Yeah.
We've already seen her involved more in the middle.
As that ball goes out to Farrow on the right, into Herbert, and she'll go for a strike. Oh, that's a little bit of a muddle as the Royal Navy clear it. She couldn't quite find Pitt Wilson there in the middle.
Look how deep Barrows had to come to get the ball, by the way.
Good to see that Barrow can't be carrying a kind of injury, so possibly a cramp we saw in the first half as Bavister chases this ball down, but unsuccessfully.
Bowden was looking for the pass there. Just got to get it right now, the Navy. They haven't got time for missed opportunities anymore.
Cat Beaver then back in control for her team, the Royal Air Force, who are now 1-0 up here in this final half of the final game in the Inter-Services 2024 for the women. And at the moment, the reigning champions will be the champions if the score stays as it is.
They're playing with confidence now, the Air Force. That goal's rejuvenated everything.
And amazing given the amount of set pieces they've had. It didn't come from a set piece. That was a nice bit of flair there from Pitt Wilson. And you bigged her up in the first half quite rightly, I think, Carl.
Well, I mean, look, she's been a major reason for this RAF success over the last few years. Hat-trick against the Army in the deciding game last year. She's always a threat, whether it's an RAF shirt, a UCAF shirt. And once again today, she's just proven how influential she can be in these games. And it's looking towards Wilson again. Smart defending actually from Tony Stewart this time. Captain, that's a smart turn.
Lovely ball to Barrow there. Oh, yeah, I mean, Shauna Jenkins has made Jade Barrow's life very difficult today.
Jenkins is a a beast at the back.
Tenacious, isn't she?
She's so difficult to get past.
Georgia Carr then for the RAF down this right side, but that goes into the Navy. But Megan Herbert,
Anthony Captain might be in trouble here, you know.
She could be. This is strike number 3 for.
It was a late challenge. She's already on a booking. I think the referee is going to let this go as her warning, I'd imagine.
No, she's calling her over.
Look, it was a late challenge, and if she hasn't been booked, it's a yellow card. The cards are coming out. Yep. It's going to be a red card. It's going to
be a red. She's already had a yellow. She's on 2 warnings already, and she's pleading with her because we said, Kyle, this could be Antea Captain's last game, and Bavister's coming over to plead the case. And this will be very upsetting for the legend that is
the
Antea
worst
Captain.
Possible end to a inter-services career, if that's what this is.
No one wants to see this, Kyle, and that's the second yellow, and that means it's a red for Antea Captain, and the Royal Navy will have to play the rest of this fixture not just a man down, but a very crucial man down as well.
An already incredibly hard challenge has just got incredibly harder. The Navy need 2 goals. They're a player down.
And that's, I mean, it's sad to see, but she plays with a heart and a sleeve, does Antea, and, you know, unfortunately she's paid the price this time.
Bavister just sort of screamed at the Navy bench as if to say, okay, so what's the plan? What's the direction now? Because it's not something they'd have planned for at this point, obviously.
No, and she's got a lead on this field. You know, she asked the question, but really that's her call. Molly Lambert then for the RAF with this free kick.
It's looking good if you're an Air Force fan right now.
1-0. Great save there from Lee Black. 1-0 for the Royal Air Force women, and now 11 players to 10. And the Royal Navy, if they have any chance of this, have to play it and do it with a player down.
Abby Hayes should have done better with the header there, by the way. She'll be disappointed. We've seen her score from them.
Well, she may well get another chance. Lambert with the ball forward onto Farrow, and Lee Black picks it up again.
So how are the Navy going to fill this gap as much as they can? I mean, Bowden and O'Leary have got a real battle now in the midfield. Apologies if you heard any language there.
Actually, Halsey stopped. You could see it on her face. She was like, what have I done there? Royal Navy ball then, just below us here in the commentary gantry for the senior service. And straight to Cat Beaver, unfortunately, onto Carr's head. And Carr will chase that down. Ball for nothing, but Abby Hindman, who came on at half-time. You can see she's got fresh energy in her legs. But the Royal Air Force, just a bit too far forward for Tony.
She'll be really disappointed, Herbert, there. That was a simple pass for a player of her quality. Look, the RAF have got 30 minutes here still to play, and they'll be thinking about putting this game out of sight sooner rather than later. They won't want a Navy onslaught with 10 players. They will look to take advantage of the space. They've got the players to do so. It'd be an interesting tactical battle now on both sides of it. I'm just looking down, and look, Chris Hamilton's got his arms crossed. I think he senses that this game is there for the RAF to take.
So 60 minutes into this final fixture for the military women in this year's inter-services, it is 1-0 to the hosts and the reigning champions, the Royal Air Force women. And if you've just joined us, the Royal Navy are down to 10 after sending off of sporting superstar across the Royal Navy, Antea Captain, and there'll be no one more disappointed than herself if this is the way that her military football career ends.
Nobody wants to see a red card, it should be said, but credit to the official.
Absolutely, we're not criticising her decision at all, and she handled it brilliantly, and like she said, kept the book as Bavister tries for the Royal Navy, but straight into the hands of Jamie Lee Bamford.
That's the way the Navy are going to get back into this. They need to get Bavister sprinting away on the left. They need Barrow potentially just to pull away towards the right, making space for an O'Leary run from midfield. That is probably the only game plan they've got left. But But this RAF team, this RAF defence don't look like they're going to budge 1 inch.
No, and they have the man advantage as well. As the Royal Navy used the legs of Abby Hindman, who came on at half-time.
First time we saw Tony Stewart really make a run forward there. So that just shows that this game's slipping out of the Navy's grasp, and they need to do something to change that. And the atmosphere is just deflated a little bit with that red card, actually.
Yeah, it was buzzing after the goal, but yeah, I think everyone feels it. They're a tight football community, and Beaver there,
calm and composed though. Look, that could have gone very wrong. Brilliant.
Effectively
from Beaver.
picking up her own shot, but that one will make its way to Lee Black in the Navy goal. Yeah, a little bit of calm after the storm at the minute, Carl, I'm feeling. But
I think everyone's just wondering of what are the Navy going to do here, because if they sit where they are now, it could go very, very wrong.
That was a lovely ball in, and not great defence from the Royal Navy there, as Lucy Farrow tries to punch it in for the Royal Air Force. But again, given that they're a man down, a player down, Royal Navy well defended there.
Unsurprisingly, the Navy looked to their captain, to Nat Bavister, for something, a moment of inspiration, something just to liven them up, get them into the game. Look, they only need one moment to go right, and this game is suddenly on again.
We've had quite a few RAF fans join us in the last few minutes, and there's a lot of support here. Rachel Griffiths, come on the Air Force. Andy Murphy, come on RAF. Alison Whelan just says RAF, possibly in reaction to the fact that they've gone 1-0 up here at New Saints FC TNS.
You have to feel for someone like Abby Hindman, who's come on probably with the instruction of change the game, get us a goal, and look, her game plan has changed now. She's come on to be an attacking threat. Well, actually, she needs to be a defensive stability.
Farrow again.
Farrow's just getting the run each time.
But Lily Chubb doing a good job there, getting it back into Navy hands. And as I say that, it falls back to the RAF feet of Hannah Hale. Was that an attempt or was that a pass?
I think it was looking for a run from the outside from Abby Hayes, and that just shows how confident the RAF are now. They're looking at left backs and right backs getting forward. Actually, I think we might have seen a change.
Bavister again at the end of a long ball. Royal Navy giving themselves space, and she's fed that in, but that finds Beaver's head.
I think Pip Wilson's got a knock. That's why she's just slotted in at left back for the moment. Which is why Abby Hayes was so far forward. One to keep an eye on.
Yeah, she's already got a bit of strapping on.
I mean, she's done her job.
I think she'll feel that she's got 90 minutes in her, I'm sure.
The RAF might just feel they've got more goals in them here.
Georgia Carr then to Farrow. Lovely ball forward for Lambert. But Grace O'Leary has got the legs for that one and will save it for the Royal Navy, but she's not out of trouble yet.
She's played better in the second half in the centre of midfield, O'Leary, and I just wonder if Glenn Long might be wondering, did I make the wrong call by moving her wide for the first half? Clearly tried something and it didn't work.
Yep. So a call from Cat Beaver there that we could hear up here, which is quite a... she's saying you stop talking to each other. It does feel like the energy's dipped a bit. And even with a 1-0 lead, your captain out there is just telling her team what they need to do.
She told us a few weeks ago that she doesn't shout at her team.
I think that was genuinely her normal level voice. She potentially could be called Foghorn too, but yeah, ordering her troops from the back there, Cat Beaver. And yeah, it has certainly gone a bit quiet from both sides. Understandable for the Royal Navy, but really the Royal Air Force need to capitalise as Beaver feeds it forward.
The Navy just need a moment to ignite something.
I mean, that's all it took last week. I think they were the better side, but it just took that one moment. But I think they're dealing with a different side in the RAF.
The RAF have been there, they've done it, and they're showing it. I mean, yes, the red card is unfortunate, but we mentioned it as we came back from half-time. It's not the Air Force that have had bookings.
No.
And it does cost you in the end.
It does. It's very noticeable when you're a man down in any sport.
I mean, the game plan is very similar to the first half again, it feels like, for the Navy. Just hang on in there, wait for a moment. Let's hope the moment comes. But it might just play into the RAF's hands. They might just have too much space to work with, and if the RAF get another, you would think game, set and match.
Absolutely. And I guess, another goal would give them a bit of a cushion, because if it was a draw, they know that they've won the title anyway. But as we've mentioned many times, these girls want to win outright. That is the absolute. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like a full win, does it, if you don't win both games?
The RAF want the double, as in the Army and the Navy double, to complete a quadruple, by the way. Yes, there were 2 years where there was no competition, and who knows how that would have ended up, but from 2019 to 2024, potentially.
It could be RAF.
Navy just running out of steam, running out of ideas. Georgia Carr's pressing has been consistent throughout the 70 minutes or so.
Yeah, she's been ever present there at the top for the RAF, and making those long legs do a lot of the work. Lovely feed in. Pip Wilson with that strapping on her knee. We were worried that she had a bit of a niggle, but she reached that ball with ease.
Just a bit scrappy in midfield.
Yeah, this is where Kat Beaver wants her players to talk to each other, because it doesn't look like they're communicating.
Oh, brilliant.
Lovely nutmeg.
She'll get it back. There's a ball wide. Oh.
Pip Wilson again. This is where she shot from before, but
if the RAF keep playing the right pass, as in there will always be a player open.
Yeah.
Play the right pass, play the right pass, play the right pass. You will find yourself in a goal scoring opportunity.
Oh,
Farrow wants a corner.
Yeah, it was
Referee.
it came off Lily Chubb there, so that will be a corner for the RAF, and Lambert, the ever reliable. And we'll see whether she plays a short corner this time, or whether she gets her confidence back with a long one.
The RAF have deserved their 1-goal lead. It should be said they've been the better team in that first half. Again, in the second half, they've been the better team. Who knows what would have happened without the red card, but a champion deals with a situation, and that's what the RAF have done. And they might just look at a corner like this and go, let's finish the job.
And they've got all numbers up as Lambert fires that one in. Beaver again. Didn't quite get enough on that header.
I think she was looking to head it down, but
yeah,
no.
it sort of skimmed ahead rather than made proper contact, I think. Georgia Carr, though, feed it back to Lambert.
And for once, Kat Beaver wasn't loud enough, I think. Should have just given her a call there. Kat Beaver was completely unmarked. It would have dropped down perfectly.
That ball goes straight through. And so a reminder of where we're at. 20 minutes remaining in this fixture and in the Women's Inter-Services 2024. And at the moment, the reigning champions, the RAF, will remain champions with their 1-0 lead against the Royal Navy women. If the 10-man senior service team can perform some kind of miracle and get 2 goals from somewhere, then we will have an exciting game on our hands. Grace O'Leary feeding into Barrow.
Just can't get the pass right, the Navy. They get one go in, they can't sort of put a flurry of 3 passes together at the moment.
But I don't think Jade Barrow's speed is as effective against Jenkins and Housley Stott there as potentially it was against the Army.
Yeah, no. The RAF have got Shauna Jenkins back for this game. I'd imagine if she could only play one game, that this was the idea. They knew that she'd be important against Barrow, and she's had Barrow arguably in her pocket, to be honest. It's not what we expect from one of the most lethal finishers in the armed forces. She's been quiet and she looks frustrated. She's had a frustrating afternoon.
And that may well have been part of their game plan. There's a lovely ball forward there from Jenkins to Lucy Farrow. Well defended by Lily Chubb for another RAF corner. I don't think the Navy have had a corner, have they?
Nope, it's been consistent RAF pressure. We've only really had one Navy chance in the game. It felt like the Navy were just getting going, to be honest. And I think that's what's arguably frustrated us up here on the gantry, where it felt like the Navy were just getting going. We were going to have this really exciting second half battle. And that red card has taken the wind out of their sails, so to speak.
And the goal.
The goal, yes, but the red card in particular.
But great Navy pun, well done.
You're welcome.
I'd like to pick him up on those. So, Molly Lambert then for the RAF.
Bit of pushing and shoving, I think, actually.
Yeah, the lines judges getting that all set up and straightened up.
Jenkins is unmarked.
Ooh, that fell to a Navy head, actually. So the RAF again not making the most of their opportunities from the corner. Jade Barrow. Lovely.
Strong challenge in there by, I think it might have been Hannah Hale.
I think it was Hannah Hale. And Barrow seems to almost be double marked every time she gets the ball, so that'll be why she's not been as effective as we're used to seeing.
I mean, then the RAF will know that Barrow's a threat. They knew that going in, and that's the idea. But that's why it's important for an O'Leary or now an Abby Heineman on the right-hand side to play into the space that Barrow leaves by taking 2 players away. In this game so far, we haven't seen that once. I do understand the Navy's game plan in the first half. I get it. From a defensive point of view, you want to hang in the game and hope for an opportunity. But when the second half has turned out how it seems to be turning out with the red card and the goal, you just wonder if it was an opportunity missed. Maybe if they'd have taken the game to the RAF, they'd have more to show for it. Maybe they'd have conceded 4 against this RAF team. Who knows?
So Bavister with the kick in. And it had the length, but couldn't find a Royal Navy head or foot there in front of goal. Lily Chubb.
Did well there, Chubb.
Lovely, really good work from Chubb.
A lot of pressure on her there. If she lets that go, the RAF are in.
I do like the pressure that the...
It's better from the Navy, that is much better.
Much better. And now Barrow's on her own for the first time, I think, in this game. She's got Bavister out to the left, determined to go at herself, but she was outmarked there by 4.
I just wonder if she picked the wrong choice. It should have gone wide to Bavister, but yes. I just wonder if that's the frustration for Barrow. She wanted to get a shot away because she hasn't had a shot. And
she knows that she can do those singular, superb solo efforts that she's done before, but she suddenly found she had 4 defenders on her, and Bavister, even for a 1-2, was out there.
RAF change up front. Georgia
Carr coming off, and we have,
I think it's
Charlotte
Worthing coming on. Haven't seen much of Worthing, so Georgia Carr's played well. Again, a very similar performance to what we see from Georgia Carr. Not many goal scoring opportunities. She's not one as a striker to get all the goals, but she's been involved in all the link-up play. She's stretched that Navy defence. She's pushed them. She'll be pleased. Now let's see what Charlotte Worthing can do. Looks like she's stepping up on this right hand side with Lucy Farrow moving into the middle. So the height has gone.
She's still pretty heighty, if I can make up a word.
Look at the space the RAF have got coming
lovely.
forward. Abigail Hayes.
From Hayes. And what's Hayes got here? Oh, just a bit too much from Abigail Hayes. And she overshoots that. Again, she had players she could have...
When a defender gets into that position and sees the whites of the goal, there's only one thing Abby Hayes is doing there.
I feel like you're talking from experience. I don't know where you play on the football pitch.
I was a very good goal-scoring defender, thank you.
I'd like to see your stats, please, Carl Dixon. So Charlotte Worthing with her first touch of the ball for the RAF, having been subbed on for Georgia Carr.
Interesting that Chubbs continued with Farrow rather than sticking on the left-hand side. She's moved into the centre of midfield, so that's a man-marking situation that's happening.
Jenkins then with this brilliant defensive partnership with Kat Beaver to Lambert.
In fact, the Navy have made a tactical change, which is not one I expected, and they're suffering for it.
Lots of space here, and there's lots of... Oh, and that is... Oh, my gosh, it hits the crossbar. Lucy Farrow with an absolutely brilliant flick off her right foot. But it hits the crossbar, and that was exciting. And
should have scored, really. I mean,
I thought she had.
You back her to score in that situation. She didn't. The change I was going to mention, by the way,
before I got too excited.
They've moved Nadina Green from centre-back. She was playing up front for a moment. I think that was why the RAF were getting joy. She's moved back into centre-back position now. So that was a short-lived
Abby
experiment.
Hindman with fresh legs here for the Royal Navy, but against Shauna Jenkins, that is a big ask. So the Navy then trying things as they're a player down, but not necessarily working at the minute.
Immediately wasn't working, so they've immediately changed it back. Can't blame them for that. Look, Farrow's the person you'd want in that position finishing that. She will not want to watch that back.
Pip Wilson then goal scorer for the Royal Air Force with an absolutely stunning long range strike that just popped over the head of Lee Black, or Navy keeper, who's had a good game actually.
Whether it's a confidence thing or who knows, fitness, who knows, the RAF just looks sharper.
Yeah,
they're quicker to the ball, they're quicker in the challenge, they're thinking quicker than the Navy. The Navy are taking too many extra touches whenever they get on the ball.
And the pressure, the pressure from the RAF has been top notch throughout this game, to be fair. Megan Herbert almost feeding herself there, and she's going to come away with the ball. Absolutely brilliant. But Lily Chubb clears it for the Royal Navy, but possession changing hands.
The Navy are living on the edge about there. And I understand why. Look, they need 2 goals. A draw isn't enough for the Royal Navy. They need 2 goals in 10 minutes against this RAF side who haven't conceded a goal in this tournament so far.
But there is an argument you can want it too much, that all sort of not skill, but all kind of sense goes out the window when you're pushing so hard for something.
That will be the worry for the Royal Navy. They have to manage the game as well as they can. I mean, I don't want to be the pessimist to say this, but I'm sure part of Glen Long would rather lose this 1-0 than push everything and lose 4-0.
Right. Charlotte Worthing then. New blood on for the RAF. Oh dear.
Lily Black has been,
she's been in the wars, hasn't she?
I think she might have taken a stray boot to the head there. It was completely accidental from Charlotte Worthing.
But I think that's her third what do you call it, thwack to the face, hasn't it? She's had a ball in the face, she's now had a boot in the face.
It does give the Navy an opportunity actually just to get together now and look, you've got 10 minutes potentially with added time. What are you going to do? How do you get back into this game, or are you just going to accept a 1-0 defeat here? I can't imagine for a second they're going to accept a 1-0 defeat. If you're chatting away on Facebook and YouTube, by the way, we apologise. We haven't got many of your comments out there. We're having connection issues here.
YouTube,
we're doing our best.
Yeah, YouTube seems to be working pretty well, but on Facebook not so much. But do keep your comments coming, because of course there is the opportunity, as always, to watch these matches back. But while we've got a second, Kyle, as a bit of stoppage time, let's have a look at that wonder strike from Pip Wilson. My apologies. From Pip Wilson, let's have a look at that strike and see what has got the RAF into this position that they're in. You can see here...
It's just such a finish, though, isn't it? I mean, it comes from nothing, but to bring it down and hit it the way she did, and to hit it where she did as well.
That's an almost no-look pass. She had a millisecond to look where that goal was.
We've seen that replay for the first time there. It looks like it does take a slight deflection.
There is an argument for that in YouTube. I think Spartakale 1954 said the shot got a deflection.
But we want to give Pip Wilson the credit here, because you know what? We needed something.
For me, it was a drive by Shauna Jenkins, who has been pressing so far up the field with Cat Beaver from the back. Her pass in, which I thought was too early because she had so much space. I thought, use that space to go into and then feed the ball off. But she obviously saw Pip Wilson and thinks, well, I know what the quality is. There's a bit of a sort of, ball in the air when it gets to Pip Wilson, but she controls it so well. And like I said, turns around and immediately shoots and gets the better of Lee Black. It's one of those things one of those goals that you probably dream of and sort of think, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, the deflection is part of it, but to take the shot on takes someone who's willing to take the game by the scruff of the neck, which is what she did. Took the shot on. She got a reward. Buy a ticket, right? That's what they say. Win the raffle. You mentioned Shauna Jenkins. I got to say, her involvement here today has been majorly why the RAF have controlled this game. She's looked so good at the back. Rolls Royce defending in a lot of ways. She's looked comfortable. In that first game against the Army, the RAF had a problem of players getting in behind. Libby Dixon had a brilliant chance in the first half for the Army, and it was from a ball in behind, which is what Jade Barrow feeds off. So you've got to think that's what the Navy were planning for today. But when you got Shauna Jenkins back there, there's no ball coming in behind. There's no players coming through. And I think Lee Black's day might be done, by the way.
I think she's coming off. That is definitely an ice pack to the face. And I think, all things considered, I think she's had a really good game.
Trying to see, I think it's Robin Snee who will come on, potentially.
Yep.
Just trying to see the name on the back of the shirt. Sorry, the number. She's played well,
yes.
Lee Black. She's had a good tournament.
That's actually Lauren Watson coming for the Royal Navy.
Did think Robin Snee was an outfield player, so that makes sense.
Lauren Watson then, the girl in green for the Royal Navy for the final 10 minutes, if there's extra time, 5 minutes of full time.
There'll be a couple of minutes added time. There's been a few stoppages, but the RAF have to be smart here as well. We talk about the Navy's mentality, the Navy's game plan, and they're going to have to throw the dice, so to speak. But the RAF have to be smart in their passes. They'll be looking for a second goal, but they don't need a second goal. Play it calmly, lead on the experience of a Cat Beaver. See how the game goes.
Worthing then with the ball for the RAF.
And this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
didn't need to force it forward. Go back. You've got space. You've got ball playing defenders.
Beaver so calm there with Grace O'Leary hammering down on her, and Beaver just got the ball away. She's so calm. And Lauren Watson putting her life on the line for...
Abigail Hayes has turned into prime Ashley Cole back there, by the way.
Prime Ashley Cole.
Full on left back.
Oh, brilliant. Royal Navy then. Oh, they don't want mistakes like that when it's the last 5 minutes of the game.
If there's a pass that sums up the Navy's day, that might just be it. space then for the RAF to play Hannah Hale.
Pip Wilson, lovely ball through to Farrow. She deceives the goalkeeper, but she hasn't got the ball in yet. Oh, she's going to hate herself for that one.
Lucy Farrow's now hit the bar and the post. She's such a threat. She's such a threat. I mean, Georgia Carr has played well and has been a great link-up player, but that threat in behind that Farrow has, unmatched. Lucy Farrow is someone who we haven't seen too often for UCAF either. I did speak to Carl about this a few weeks ago, and due to availability and stuff like that, it's not someone he's managed to really play very often in a UCAF shirt. And she's someone, on the basis of this inter-services, definitely deserves to be starting for UCAF.
I think Carl Milgate is going to be coming to you for scouting tips, Carl Dixon. So
that or tell me to butt out. We're not sure.
He's normally pretty polite when he talks to you, but yeah, Worthing forward.
Just played the pass a little too late there.
Yeah.
Farrow would have been offside, I think.
And just a couple of minutes remaining in this last Inter-Services women's fixture for 2024, and the Royal Air Force, the reigning champions, set to be champions again in 2024 if the score remains the same. Even if the Navy get a draw, they would still win on goal difference. And Jenkins, who's been a formidable player for the Royal Air Force, but Lily Chubb, brilliant in defence. Worthing, can she save it? No, it's going to be a Navy throw. And amazing that Royal Air Force have largely stayed unchanged.
Yeah, I mean they are making a change as you speak, actually. But the way that
I like to jinx it.
The way that they've got the team that works for them. Second change for the RAF. Neve
Hoey.
There we go.
Neve Hoey.
We checked it before the game.
We
so
did have to check with
certain.
Neve how to say it. But it's actually getting brighter.
Floodlights off.
It's getting brighter, which...
yeah, Neve Hoey comes on.
And Ashley Housley-Stott is off for the Royal Air Force as they make changes. And we will see some extra time.
Unfortunate first involvement for Neve Hoey there, a foul throw.
We will be seeing some changes. We will be seeing... My apologies. We will be seeing some extra time, I'm pretty sure, with the injuries we've had. And,
there'll be a couple of minutes, yeah.
And possibly the red card as well took up some time. So do stay with us. We will leave this game quite shortly at its culmination before we go to the men's this evening at 18:45.
Give us just enough time to get over to Shrewsbury, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're everywhere. Let's hope none of our cars break down and the traffic is
Now, why
kind.
have you said that?
Well, at least if one car makes it, we'll be lucky. If all three make it, it'll be our lucky day.
I think that Farrow was offside. She
was way ahead there.
Five minutes added time.
That's quite a hefty amount.
Is it hefty enough for the Royal Navy?
No, I'm going to say that with quite a lot of confidence, as Bavister, who can change games, but she's
got to get the ball to change the game. That's the problem for the Navy in this. They haven't been able to get their key players on the ball. Barrow's worked on scraps. O'Leary has been better in the second half, but not been able to get on the ball enough. Bavister has spent more time chasing missed passes than being on the ball, it feels like.
The Navy see this as a chance, though. There's a lot of chatter going on and a lot of shouting at each other, or talking to each other, I'm sure. Because they know that if they can't win this, if they can at least get a draw out of it, then they've deprived the RAF of that all-out win, which they're so keen for. But not looking likely at the minute with RAF possession. And that's a very casual feedback from Nadina Green to Lauren Watson.
Misplaced. Poor touch, really, from
Yeah.
Tony Stewart.
Falls at the feet of Herbert.
It's a late
to
challenge.
Lambert. That's not
Referee
been
didn't
picked
see
up.
it.
No, I think the back was turned, to be honest. The Royal Navy then, with every scrap of their being, will fight until the end. But Pip Wilson, ooh,
That was frustration from Berra.
Yeah,
It turned
but-
into a good challenge in the
Yeah.
end, but that could have very much gone wrong.
the fine lines of football with Beaver on the ball here.
They've got to
To
play her
Niamh
over
Hoey.
each time.
Niamh Hoey, very recently subbed on to Worthing, another sub. Royal Navy fighting for all their worth. And they get the ball. And another sub. And this is Maiwan is coming on.
Grace O'Leary's day is done, I think.
Grace
She's
O'Leary.
shown,
It's a good game, I thought.
similar to what I said last week against the Army, she's shown little glimpses of what she can do, but she's not. I wouldn't say she's took the game to the RAF. She's not really been an influential figure in the game, which is what they will want her to be, the Navy.
Maybe they haven't quite found the right position for her yet.
She's a player with huge potential in the armed forces, though.
As Pip Wilson steals the ball off the Royal Navy, and she's got help up there up front, but slightly mistimed ball. She powers it into the goal anyway, but it doesn't count.
Yeah, Grace O'Leary is someone I think we'll be talking about next year for sure for the Navy. I think Carl Milgate will have his eye on her as well. That's just sloppy from the Navy.
Tiredness, it's fatigue, I think. It's really starting to show now. The Royal Air Force then, with just 2 minutes remaining in extra time here at TNS. And even Jamie Lee Bamford has come down, as if they weren't already a man up. The Royal Air Force are doing everything they can to press as high as possible. Oh, well, Niamh Hoey there, lovely, lovely control.
This RAF team are going to take some stopping today anyway. They've been really, really good.
Could this be the final save for Wilson? No, that ball's going off.
They'll be slightly disappointed that it's just 1-0, if I'm really honest. They've played well. They've had a few good chances. But more than that, they've just... with each pass, with each challenge, they just look sharper, stronger, fitter. This RAF team is going to take stopping over the next few years. And they haven't been stopped for a few years. How long can this dominance continue?
Pip Wilson with another long-range attempt.
No deflection this time.
And not anywhere near the goal either. And she looks utterly spent there, but she has thoroughly deserved a goal, which potentially could be credited somewhere else. But we're going to give it to Pip Wilson.
I mean, we talk about tiredness. That is just one of the most self-destructing piece of football I've ever seen. A goal kick has ended with a short goal kick taken, missed clearance, and it's a corner to the RAF.
The RAF, though, not used their or capitalised on their corners, but given the fatigue that's showing, to be honest, for both sides, this could well be the final say of this final inter-services fixture 2024, and I believe that's Lambert again for the RAF. Can she find a head? Nah, that's gone through. And Shauna Jenkins was nearly in there for a glory goal.
She would have got the goal she deserved there.
Yeah, but I think it missed pretty much everything. So it remains 1-0. But the RAF women, the reigning champions, very much on course to be the 2024 Inter-Services Football Champions.
Deserved champions as well. They've been.
There we go.
They were very good against the Army. They've been good here today. Yes, the situation has helped them with the red card, but the best teams don't lose their heads in these situations, and that's what the RAF haven't done.
And they have won. And they have won 1-0. They also are the Inter-Services 24 Inter-Services Football Champions, and that goes to the Royal Air Force. They won in 2019. We had COVID for 2 years, and they've won for the last 2 years in 2022 and 2023. They are now 4 years on the trot of Inter-Services football, the Inter-Services champions, the Royal Air Force. That's it from us here at the New Saints, but please do come back and join us for the men's, another very exciting final on our hands. It is the Royal Air Force men against the Royal Navy men later this evening at Shrewsbury Town. Kick-off is at 7 o'clock, but we'll be live on BFBS from 18:45. And just a reminder, of course, you can watch that on BFBS Sports Show YouTube. It won't be on the Forces News YouTube because that is where we are showing Inter-Services boxing live from Aldershot tonight. We are everywhere, and we've been delighted to bring you this final fixture. The Royal Air Force, as Kyle said, deservedly champions here, 1-0, and with a 2-0 win against the Army, they deservedly take the silverware. We will show you highlights of this game. We will bring you the trophy lift and a winner with a interview with the winning captain, Kat Beaver, in time. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye, but please do come back and join us on BFBS Sports Show YouTube for the men's fixture later, or you can watch the Forces News YouTube for the live boxing. That's it for now. We'll see you later.
Really big mistake, and the Army take the lead.
And the RAF have it in the back of the net. Ball goes down, and the referee says that is a penalty. Chance though for the Air Force. That's a great save.
Whipped in towards the near post. He's headed on, and into the back of the net. Cross in towards the near post. He's flicked on. It's a chance at the back, and Campbell does get his goal.
It's a shot, and it's a second goal.